The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervylette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to—
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What do you say to that?
Huh. An argument with near impossible odds, huh? You have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, then what manner of being do you think I am? And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
That doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think this clue can be used as compelling evidence to build our case. First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
Neuvillette sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being? Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the endemidium that is used in every aspect of life.
You tried to reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an explanation.
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant in this trial. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day. But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
My power.
If that poses a concern,
You don't.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium! Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how...
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone! Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar! I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you loved! Shouldn't you want to believe in me? Please? You've got to believe me!
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such, then what grounds have you to say that I'm not actually the real deal?
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we refute her now? Seems like she really doesn't want to give up. doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think this clue can be used as compelling evidence to build our case. It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the primordial...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can...
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Farina, would you dare to, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rosula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to...
She's just staring at the water without saying...
What's going on?
Due to the inherent...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Mom, will you believe...
Miss Siegewing?
Siege?
Don't be nervous. That should...
Please announce...
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displayed. She was
Thank you, Miss Siegewing.
Oh, wait. What?
Well, however, after extensive discussion, we don't want...
Yeah, so it's a great thing.
I can't believe... Listen to me, everyone! Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an R also... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point was...
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think that...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway me until she's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished.
That's actually one of the available sentences?
The one and only time the death sentence has been
Farina's been sentenced.
This outcome is indeed quite... Is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah, even Vacher wasn't sentenced.
Indeed. Not only is Farina sentenced, but now, the Oratrice seems to have
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! Huh, you finally made it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged...
I looked everywhere, but has the trial all...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing
Huh? So what do you see?
I believe I've now made...
Huh? Isn't a Hydro Archon... so when you say Hydro Archon... Do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
In truth, everything that you... However, I'm uncertain as to...
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Paimon will do her best to help you... The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean that the second stone slate shows Celestia floating? This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were The third slate shows the That reminds Paimon. Well, the fourth slate is the prophet. They didn't believe that such a creature...
We know from the case of the seer and the first this.
That doesn't sound... That doesn't sound quite...
Perhaps what is it? The truth and the... prophecy, if we...
That doesn't...
It's not as simple as when not the
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea, but won't cease to exist. The Hydro Archon was said to... Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly... The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The stone slate's content can all be... Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! So that's how you can make sense of it! But then if...
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're...
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial, all of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first... That could also explain why the
Hydro Archon's true...
And yet, after many hundreds of years...
Yeah, isn't it? So wouldn't it be trying to show the... In the end, did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must... However, while you were able to decode all the information when we were at the ruins, now that the slate collection is complete, I shall
What?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon. In the Fontaine of Old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars. She poured primordials, but if Fontanians were to... Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of they have not... The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as you may also recall. Therefore, that the people of Fontaine... Yes.
I think that, in truth...
If that's the case...
Traveler, I would like to point out enough about the fourth... However, as for the root cause of the catastrophe... This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come.
It was both dream...
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the...
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
So we've met it at last. I understand very well that whale, it has been greed, and once it has...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first
Precisely. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea...
We just barely managed to...
That is correct, from the way he looked. He must have been
That battle maniac. Anyway,
It is too late. It had already absorbed, even if the...
We've come.
Indeed. I'll fight it to the end.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. Just as ultimately,
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina!
No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. The heavenly principle.
Deceiving the...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. One was not amused. She knew full... And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principle. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather... I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized I had to outwit the heavenly principles. Allow the prophecy... I'm a genius, I know. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to...
So you were also once...
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive. The me you see before you, she could feel joy, sorrow, and everything. Her strengths were of a... But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human. Anyway, all part of the... Do you still remember in order that under the curse I placed on her, So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor instead, I suppose now you probably understand.
But Farina, even though she is high,
It has indeed. And although she is, and it's been far and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely.
Oh, who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, all right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need. Oh, do not jest. I am Focalor, the eyes of Count... Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Let's light it up! I'm going in! Ready.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Gather!
Yeah, everybody stand! Loaded. Off we go!
Farina. Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're... mirror me? How can this be? Mirror me.
The prophecy.
What prophecy? The people will...
Oh. Very...
What? But...
I will tell you.
But if there weren't...
I suppose Don't worry.
Play act.
That's right. If you can.
But...
Don't worry. Being a human, remember.
So...
To a... But...
A trial. The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most... Ladies, I'm sure you've all heard about how... In truth, I know that as the god Focalor, once again, this... I thought I might...
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more assertive.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen.
Wait, what's going right? Calm down, Farina. Assertive. Now, I was wondering if... Well, you may consider... Now then!
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were...
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before. Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, we have heard it said that this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. The scales of may law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they... There is no trouble, so long as
Lady Farina, here are
Besides...
That's true,
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, to your duties. The trial I await. It will come one day.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood in line to meet me, have you not? Oh, I'm afraid that's just an inevitable All right. Deoteria, is it?
You remembered me, and you knew of my family, too. He's...
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of...
I see. It's as I thought then. All manner. Really?
I'm...
The day is finally over. I haven't had a moment to breathe this whole time. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no... Maybe this is fun.
Lady Farina, here are the new...
They'll be...
Lady Farina.
Indeed, my...
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant...
Understood. I feel...
Lady Farina, it's like a dream being able to speak with you up close. I've heard that the first... Are you crying?
Uh-huh. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god.
No.
So, hundreds I never have. I want to dive. All I can do is keep up.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you...
Share that's impossible.
But even if you're just
a witness, and if to... She's right. I could confide in him, but if they... No, Farina. But what if, Farina, is it... If you let this think about it, long and hard... No. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until the curtains fall.
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important thing.
Ah, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that—
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Linny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that
And then I became one with the oratories, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would— Alas, in truth, it is no— Oh, my work, oh, but really, the vast majority had to be.
It was all—
Indeed. This power accrued over 5 centuries, but only power of this
So the oratrices— the destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your
returning what's rightfully yours. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydra—
But—
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
all you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now— Hydro Dragon. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly— Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea. And the heavenly principle— I, for my part, am— Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was— Then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent— In other words, defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people At this point, Iudex Neuvillette.
So when at last, in the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living— You are a devious— Things being as they are. Surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Codex Nouvellette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
Where do you want to go next?
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that some...
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume...
It's time to end this. We must mete out
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means. And now we should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine. The beast, come with me, traveler. Done my best to separate the power of the primordial sea from the whale. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for an opening together. Sorrow turning into hostility.
Solidify! Stabilize!
Devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present itself. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Solidify!
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It was just supposed to be. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point.
That power. Who?
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, it's just that he gave us the impression that she was,
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other. So you may speak to me as equal. I have to agree. It's just that kind of power is wasted on it. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk? I think you might have missed
The point being...
Well, being that this pet almost destroyed an entire nation, so what sort of person is your master? Well, child's...
Oh, right. So you don't know him. His name is Sir Tologi.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master is insufficiently famous. Huh.
The Foul?
Still nothing? Well, how about the...
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine-Doctor's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of the... But I suppose you understand now, yes?
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary?
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now...
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has...
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Hey! Help! Over here! All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry! Hey, lend a hand! Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
The prophecy was wrong.
The soil renewed. This old soil can skyship winglet, boon or bane of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of people always call the... Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the report.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? That the value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-up. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created...
Paimon's curious too!
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct it.
Are you sure?
Oh, this time will be different. Come on! Let's head to Poisson first, and then